understand my message easily. Terrell said that I only have 5 minutes, so maybe I can just inspire you. I do something to resist 2 or 3 days a week. Are you inspired yet? There is a joke in the disability community that we can just say, I get out every day, to TABs, temporarily able-bodied people, and they'll be inspired. Like some of you, I was lucky enough to be able to utilize diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in school. I dropped out of school in the Philippines after 5th grade because I had to have a big surgery, and it would take almost a year of physical therapy to relearn how to walk. By that time, I would be the oldest in class, which was just one more thing that made me weird, and one more thing the other children would make fun of. Besides, my teachers didn't care enough to try to make sure I was learning. I wasn't. And every year they just passed me on to the next grade without me learning hardly anything. I couldn't even read in the 5th grade. When I came to America in 1994 at age 17, my mother made me go back to school. I believe that if there were no DEI programs in the Alaska school system, I would not have been able to go back to school, graduate as the valedictorian of my high school class, and receive a full scholarship to the University of Alaska Anchorage, where I graduated with a major in and eventually moved to North Carolina, then Tennessee, where I started the Simple Elegance Bridal Show in 2016 and served for 5 years as a board member for the local business organization in Jonesboro to help our community thrive. Let's talk about the new Superman movie. How many of you have watched it? I got so excited about the movie when I heard that MAGA were losing their minds over it. They said it was too woke. I was like, what do they mean? Then when we watched the movie, I was like, what is new? I mean, Superman has always been a defender of those who are weak, no matter what their circumstances or color of their skin. He has always been on the right side of history. Yes, even Dean Kane's Superman character fought the Nazis in one episode. I guess they think it is too woke because the movie made them uncomfortable. They probably identified most closely with the villain characters. They locked up aliens and people who Lex Luthor felt were his enemies. Sound familiar? Maybe they were upset the movie made fun of a character, Vasil Gorkos, who loves gold decor and all the people around him constantly stroke his ego. Sound familiar? Anyway, what is my point, you might ask? Superman is not real, but unfortunately there are people like the Lex Luthor and Vasil Gorkos characters. There will always be people who believe that they are better than others. They deserve more rights and all of the wealth and power. But we can't let them hold us down. We have to be our own heroes. Do whatever you can to resist this regime. Don't wait for someone to come do something for you. No one is coming to rescue us. Here in the real world, we must be our own heroes. Luckily, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can contact your congresspersons, tell them your story, tell them your life is just as valuable as theirs. Attend local protests, host a community gathering, don't buy from companies that support the Trump regime or went along with his anti-DEI, anti-woke. Join small groups of like-minded individuals, build community, strengthen each other's resolve, to stand up for your beliefs, run for local office and board positions. You know what you and your community needs better than many of the out-of-touch lifelong politicians and board members currently in positions of power. We can't be Superman and defeat those doing harm single-handedly. We will only be victorious if we all stand together in solidarity. So let me end with one of Superman's famous quotes. I'm here to fight for truth, justice, and the American way.
I would very much like to hear more of the stories of my girls, rather than my own. I am mostly all grown up now, and I decided long ago that there is not a single system or suit or costume or uniform I had any respect for. I spent the first 18 years of my life in Carter County in school systems. And I think we can all imagine well how my insistence at questioning all of the things all of the time went down in that school system with preachers and teachers and peers. But they taught me systems, and for better or for worse, that too was a gift. They won for a while, telling me to be silent. I spent a good chunk of my teen years not speaking at all to any of them. And I learned later that the word for that is it was my first act of resistance to weaponize silence. And it drove them all completely insane. Woo! And they'd look at me and they'd ask me, what was going on? And I would say, but you told me I talked too much. But you told me I should behave. But you told me that wasn't respectful. And with all that extra time I spent not speaking and seething as an adolescent, I planned and I plotted and I found my way to the hospitality industry. People like Brad try to sit me down and polish me and structure me and organize me. And he asks me all the time to define what my goals are, what my mission is, who I want to be. And as recently as 15 hours ago, I sat with him, and he is an unusually and exceptional white man, very woke. And we spent 5 hours trying to define what it is I am and what it is I do. And we used really official words like labor organizer, workers' rights, unions, agitator, lawsuit winner, or my personal favorite, agent of chaos. We were sitting together on my favorite pedestal, the bench outside of Capone's, because when I yelled at the commission and I ordered them to get off their pedestal and come down there and see these girls, he heard me 6 months ago, and he came down there to spend time with me and my girls. That bench outside of Capone's is the perfect vantage point via which I survey my little queendom, and I clock into my self-assigned job duties as patron saint of brilliant to hot mess baby girl bartenders. I can see the breezeway where one of the ladies that is not housed tells me proudly, with a note of her very own disdain as she clocks into her job for the night, I won't lay on my back to make money like the rest of them for these men. I'm an entrepreneur. She reads me tarot cards and I write her marketing strategies. I teach her Venmo. She predicts the future and I fret over the increased police presence downtown, but mostly I watch. While we were sitting together, Brad and I, he started to laugh at the frequency that young girls would come to me and fly into my arms to tell me their stories, their sins and their wins and their heartache, petty to profound, tragic to triumph. And Brad kept saying, how do you know her, or her, or her? And I kept laughing because I don't know them at all. They just fly into my arms. He said to me, what are you? A siren's call for little girls. And I said yes. And I was quite rude to him because every important thing he tried to discuss, I shushed him to listen to them. But it's the secret language of women, and it's not even deep or as magical as it looks. It's primal to run to older women for safety when the world is too big. And they see me watching and scanning, bright-eyed and measured, and joyful but aware. I don't want to be anything organized. I want to be Carlene Claybaker when I grow up. I want to listen to all of the important things, the unimportant things that don't matter at all. The trinkets, the hair dyes, the boyfriends, the tears, all those things. And it's not easy all the time, but I've trained me to make sure they hear me say, their stories matter to me big, 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 more than Brad's voice. They say to me most often, I'm trying, Abigail. I'm trying this, I'm trying that. And I'm kind of a jerk. So I tell them, that's the worst idea I've ever heard in my life. Why don't you try something else? And then they come back to me with a brand new idea, a labor board complaint, an argument they had with their boss, the car they keyed of their boyfriend that was mean to them. And they say, Abigail, I'm trying. And I say to them, definitively, every single time, well, that means succeeding, it means succeeding. So Brad, my love, I'm not a labor organizer. I'm not a future politician. I'm not a writer or a leader or an agitator or a board member. And for the benefit of the Junior League and the Washington County Democratic Party, I won't be joining any of these systems. I'm not a purist or an idiot. I understand viscerally that we have to work within what's existing as they are now in order to break the chains. I am but a waitress practicing politics. And I don't wish to sit on any throne but the one outside of Capone's I claimed long ago. The only thing I believe in is as follows. The only angels left on God's green earth work at all-night diners and behind bars and in hair salons. Go find them. Go help them, teach them. They're gritty. They'll tell you the last time they haven't been to the dentist. They will tell you all the incredible things that they are doing to agitate, and it is a magical experience. They are doing more to change the world with their hairdresser straight razors held to the throat of men in suits, ordering them to behave differently than any of us. So my best advice isn't even especially good advice, except to again look towards Carleen Claybaker, who has supported so loudly every unhinged thing any unhinged little girl has done in this town for decades, without question, without logic. She is so much more wise than me. She does not even say that is a terrible idea. She says that is a great idea and I'm going to be there. And with that action, she has represented that our voices matter. So get louder, all of us. More sidewalk chalk, more memes, more emails, one more labor complaint. Be petty. Crash out, call the police, buy a billboard, make a meme. And above all, stop hearing me and looking to the left and right at one another. And go to Waffle House and go to the bars and talk to these girls. Thank you so much.
To introduce Ken. Ken, come on in. Ken is a labor organizer with the Upper Northeast Tennessee Council, affiliated with the AFL-CIO, and I think Dennis talked about this. Dennis talked about it a little bit earlier. I think something we need to absolutely pay attention, and the council and Ken in his work have been working hard on that, is the breakdown from the Trump administration coming on the VA. We know the VA is already underfunded. The VA was doing better under Biden, just so you know, things were getting there. And Trump is breaking everything, and in particular labor union contracts. And that is something we need to fight for, we need to be aware of, and Ken is doing the work. So tell us more about this, and please give a round of applause to Ken.
Thank you, Bill. It's good to be here. It's a great diversity of people. It's what we all need to be. America's strength is its diversity. Labor unions have always known that. And some people have misconceptions about the union. I'm sorry. I'll thank you for that. And but one thing you remember about the word union, first three letters are you and I. That's all it is. It's you and I. It's all of us. And I'm a member of Pipe Fitters Local over here on South Rome Street. I'm third generation. Somebody in my family's been a member of that local since 1943, debt free. We use no federal, state, or local tax money. It's all paid for by our contractors and our membership. Nice boat. Labor Day tradition was brought forth by FDR and the New Deal Democrats. They formed a Department of Labor, the first woman that was over a federal department, Frances Perkins. And when she was over the Department of Labor, her name's still on the building right now in D.C. She was out with the workers, walking with the workers on strike. And that's just how it was. And Roosevelt gave us the National Labor Relations Act, which gave every American worker the federal right to organize and voice a vote in their workplace. And then he created the National Labor Relations Board to enforce this. The Trump administration has basically declared the federal departments basically right to work. Right to hire, right to fire, 4 calls and no calls, right to work for less. You have to have no reason to dismiss you. He's in favor of national right to work, always has been. And of course, one of the first things that Hitler did when he came to power was bust the unions. And he took possession of their property, took possession of their monies, which is all their pensions, annuities, things like that. The Nazis took it over. If you watch Trump, to me, if you ever read Mein Kampf, that's his playbook. That's what he's going to do. And the only way to stop him is the ballot box, if we get to go to the ballot box again. And it's like something I never thought I'd see, but it's here, and it's for real, and it's coming, and it ain't gonna stop till we stop it. And I just don't, I don't know what to say about some of this stuff. I've never seen it. The only way to stop him is at the ballot box, and he's already figured out ways to rig that, gerrymandering, and all that good stuff. But what the previous speakers have said, we need Democrats in local offices.
Yes.
County commission, city commission,
We need money.
school board. Yeah, we need money too. I worked the elections in Sullivan County. I live in Sullivan County. And people came up to us asking, where's the list for the Democrats? And we had no list to show them. That was just terrible. They would, looking for something different. I'm also on the county equalization board, which, Washington County did this a couple of years ago when they reassessed your property, right? And y'all got a huge property tax increase. Okay, we did the same thing. We're the board that the people, the homeowners come into, and we try to get their assessment back down, okay, to help them out. But what I know for a fact is those county commissioners were threatened day in, day out. They're all Republicans, every one of them, day in and day out to be voted out. So they're not real stable right now. And all it takes is a few good candidates. Put somebody in there for the people instead of business. Thank you. 80% of the county commissioners in Sullivan County own a business. They're not going to legislate for us. Sullivan County has a debt problem. Even though they got $30 million from the American Rescue Plan from Biden, they ran through that because they had to build the jail, they had to build the high school, but they've given away the store in tax tips. The Pinnacle up there in Bristol has a tax tip to 2040. That hotel in Bristol that collapsed, that had a tax tip on it. That new car dealership, the one in Kingsport City Council gave them $500,000 tax tip. So the county council gave him $500,000 tax tip to Mitch Walters, who has 6 new car dealerships in 3 states. He's a millionaire. They risked in there, put those people out of where they're living, and now they're building his new car dealership. Those tax tips were designed for small businesses, mom and pops starting out, to give them a boost for a couple of years, right? So now Sullivan County not only has debt, they have loss of revenue. And it's not going to change because they all own businesses. So we put different people in there. And the thing about it, when they came in there for the assessment of the property, I'll tell you this. Some people's assessment went up 100%, some of them went 150, some of them went up 300%. One person I know of, her assessment went up 15%. Horsepower. That figure? That figure? And like in Sullivan County, the high school, the jail, everything, 80% of what's built over, 75%, is built by one contractor, J.A. Street. J.A. Street's brother is a Sullivan County attorney at every meeting. It's all like this. We've got to break it. But I'll leave you with two more things and I'll get out of your way. As far as Labor Day tradition, the term redneck, right? That comes from this right here. There's Mountain West 10,000 coal miners out of a strike. And they all came in on flatbed cars from the railroad, from New York, Pennsylvania, and the reporter said, there's just a sea of rednecks here. So a union member is the original redneck. Remember seeing Jimmy Carter and Habitat for Humanity? He had that red bandana on, he's a friend of labor. And one more thing I'll leave you. The definition of a scab. Okay, a scab, if you have a union card or union member, is a person that goes in and his sole purpose is to weaken that union or get rid of that union. And that's all his purpose. That's all the reason he lives. He'll cross your picket line, he'll take your job, he'll rat you out to the boss if he can, if he has anything. But to me, the best definition of scab is this right here.
I'm Sharon Brown, and I'm part of Indivisible, TINBA, League of Women Voters, Sullivan County Democrats. I am so proud to introduce the next speaker, Merritt Moore. Merritt was born in Johnson City. She worked as an underground miner in West Virginia and for the United Mine Workers of America as a journalist, photographer, and labor organizer in the historic 1989-90 Pittston strike. She led the organizing of hundreds of miners' wives and was a founding member with them of the Daughters of Mother Jones. Merritt is known for her work advocating for mine safety and the rights of miners. She is the author of Women in the Mines, Stories of Life and Work, a collection of oral histories and documentary photographs of women miners across the U.S. She is active in the International Women Coal Miners Network, including England's Women Against Pit Closures. In 2023, the West Virginia Mine Wars Museum awarded her the Carter G. Woodson Truth Tellers Award for her documentary work over decades. Welcome Merritt Moore, one of the smartest women I know.
Thanks, Sharon, one of my favorite activist buddies. All right, I'm so glad to follow the last speaker who talked about red bandanas. We'll get there. I got a bunch of them for you. So what I'm talking about today is labor history. I just want to say that I'm bringing greetings from women coal miners across the United States and from the Women Against Pit Closures in England. 40 years after we got started, we're still tight with each other and we're still in the fight. My personal local fight, this is an aside, is about the takeover of our local media by what I feel is a private equity concern. We just lost the Jonesboro paper. I was working, the reason I've been at rallies, I've been working every week on long history pieces. All of a sudden, it's gone. Not only that, the editor, it's a labor issue. The guy who, kind of the hatchet man, he basically said, oh, hi, how you doing? We're taking the paper over and today's your last day of work. Did that with all of them. So all I'm saying is JC Press does not have my support. They thinned out all of our news media. I grew up around here. Anyway, that's a side, sorry. All right, today we're going to call upon the spirit of Mother Jones, you know? All right, sorry, I have to do notes. And I have a silly hat, okay? But this is what we do with women minors. We put on our stuff, right? We have fun, okay? I'll take it back off. All right. Anyway, Mother Jones was a radical immigrant, Irish immigrant, who organized thousands of immigrant coal miners and workers across, of course, coal miners, but many workers. She's also involved in the Mexican Revolution. She was a hellraiser and an agitator. She said, this nation was founded on agitation. Chattel slavery was abolished by it. God grant that agitation keeps up until the last chains are broken. And she said, a man in prison, I asked him why he happened to be there. And he said, I stole a pair of shoes. And she said, if you'd stolen a railroad, you'd be a U.S. Senator. Yeah, humor. In her 70s and 80s, Mother Jones walked through creeks, over mountains to meet secretly with workers, many of them coal miners. They laid down their tools on a word from her. That is why she was jailed repeatedly. She was court-martialed, and as you may know, she was called by a judge the most dangerous woman in America. But when she was in jail one time, well, actually more than once, she'd sneak out letters, okay? And they went viral in our language, and this is one of them. She said, let the nations of the world know that the great United States is now holding Mother Jones incommunicado in an underground cell surrounded by sewer rats, tin-horned soldiers, and other vermin. She fought private armies. Sound familiar? Yes. In her time, it was the Baldwin Felts. When I was involved in strikes, the Pittston later, but also the A.T. Massey strike in the mid-'80s, in Mingo County, where I worked in the mine, Mingo County, West Virginia, we saw the militarization of that community. They did it because they knew nobody was going to see it. We saw Army tanks being brought in to rural post offices that were bristling with surveillance, surveillance material. And nobody could go to the post offices because there they were. We knew it was the wave of the future. And we know military occupation is nothing new in the labor movement. In the old days, nothing new in the new days. And now we've got it coming from the White House. Mother Jones knew the power of women. You know, she lived from, really, she did her work like 1890 through 1930. She started in her 60s. It's a good model for aging, okay? She worked until she was, died at 93, but she said she was 100 so she could have a birthday party. She always said she was older than she was. When she was 70, she said she was 80. When she was 80, she said she was 90. When she was 90, she said she was 100 and had a great birthday party. All right, so she organized, what she said about women is she said, no nation has ever grown beyond its women. She organized miners' wives as well as women workers, okay? And miners' wives, she organized them into mop and broom brigades. You know, he was talking about scabs or strikebreakers. Well, they were pouring in the mines. You know, workers had no rights at this point. That's why she was, and others were trying to organize the labor movement, organize unions, the United Mine Workers, and others, okay? And so these mop and broom brigades, they, like up to 1,000 women would be bam, 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 and bang it, and they'd go to the mine portals where strikebreakers were going in, and the women scared them to death, and it worked, okay? So in the Pittston strike, we did this too. We didn't do mop and, you know, brigades, but we did organize a lot of activist miners' wives. And the Pittston strike was based on mass civil disobedience. In many states now, it's a felony, okay? But back then, we could do it. Of course, the union got $40 million fines, but it started with a women's occupation. And when we all got together, the women, we're going to take over, occupy the headquarters in Lebanon, Virginia of the Pittston Company. In that building, also, unknown to us, in the back, were the offices of, get this word, Vance Security. They were the gun thugs for Pittston, all right? And so we go in there, but the women, the wives said, we had 42, we numbered off 1 to 42. No names because of retaliation. So we numbered off, right? We all remember our numbers forever. Our spokesman was a miner's wife named Edna Saul. She was daughter of Mother Jones, number 14. CNN came in that afternoon. CNN walks in, they have a photographer, you know, cameraman and a reporter, and he goes up, who's your spokesman? And we're like, she is, and said, what is your name? And she said, I am the daughter of Mother Jones, number 14. And he turned off his mic, he made the guy quit filming, and he said, who is Mother Jones? So we had a history bite that went national. We were very happy about that. So anyway, so the red bandana, my understanding about from the mine workers, how it started was Mother Jones knew about this because in 1921 there was the Battle of Blair Mountain. Have you heard about it?
Yeah.
All right, Battle of Blair Mountain. Miners wore this as they marched south from Charleston to liberate their brothers in Mingo County from the heel of the private armies. And so it was and is a symbol of unity. It is resistance, but it's also solidarity, because you have to have solidarity. You have to have broad solidarity. You know, maybe people you might not imagine you have common ground with. You can find common ground. You can. And so tying it on, and I've got 100 of these that will be given out if you want them, but tying them on, we tie ourselves together, okay? We tie ourselves together in the struggle, in the determination, and I just want to end with her most famous words, which you may know, and if you do, just join me. Pray for the dead, fight like hell for the living. Pray for the dead.
Fight like hell for the living. Pray for the dead. Fight like hell for the living. Pray for the dead.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. I believe she messed up what I was going to say. She messed the hell out of my message. I only have a short time. I usually don't use up all of that time. But I did want to make a correction now. As a substitute teacher, I know that my corrections don't count today. Okay, I'm just here on a subbing position. But I saw a sign, and I see signs all the time that says, no king. Some of y'all know where I'm going. It says, no king. But there is a king. We do have a king. And this is not churchy, and I don't want to be churchy on you, but I don't want my king to think we talking about him. Because he does good things for me. When I was coming up, and I'm 68 years old, and when I was coming up in school, I had no idea back in 63 that there was a separation of peoples. I had no idea that we were even being treated different. I took that as though this was life, this is what life was going to be like. Fast forward, they integrated schools, and one of my teachers said, while I was doing a math problem, I blamed that on my reasons I can't add anything but 5 plus 5. I believe she said, move away from the board, you've been drinking muddy water. When I got to college, one of my professors helped me through that and took me all the way back to the 5th grade. Fast forward, when I got to the high school, I started to join groups that I wasn't allowed to be in, but I sort of pushed my way. One of them was Voice of Democracy. I wrote my first Voice of Democracy speech in the 9th grade, and I won, but they only gave me 4th place because I was not of color of the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place. Moving forward, I moved on ready for moving into college, and I have yet today to have my guidance counselor to accept my request to talk about which college I was going to go to. It wasn't allowed. I'm raising now an 8-year-old. She's my great niece, and just this week, she was told she will get an F if she did not write Donald Trump as the answer to the question. Prior to that, I told her, whatever they tried to do to keep you from getting a green light, that's just, they mark a little green on how they acted each day, how their conduct was. I said, whatever they ask you to do that's within reason, like they wouldn't let her go to the bathroom when she said she had to go. Our rule is, if you gotta go, go. And we'll take the consequences. But they had a test on Donald Trump. 4 of the kids did not write his name. They got an F for the test. My 8-year-old wrote his name and brought home a green light. We talked for 2 hours about that green light and how it was important. Whatever they tried to do to our children in school, whatever they did to me, it doesn't work with all of our kids if we stick together and bring our kids into the newness of a change is going to come. A change is going to come. From our school board level to our city council's level, a change is going to come. I'm known as the cleanup woman. Whenever you need something done, come on here. You call on some of us women to come together and we can get the job done. We will get the job done. But we need all of us to come together and to stick together in whatever that we do. It's good to have these settings here, but we are to come together at the voting rights and do what we're supposed to do by telling everybody this is the right way to doing things. For all of us here. The first thing, equality and inclusion. Last thing I have to say to you, a big corporation, don't mind calling their name because you'll Google my name and you'll see me there. Office Max thought it was not necessary to lift the table so that I could reach my computer. It took 2 years, but we got the victory over Office Max. Of course, they closed now, but we still got the victory. This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Amen, church. Don't forget, whoever you are, wherever you are, don't forget your neighbor that's hurting. Don't forget someone that's not being included. Be a friend, be a sister, be a brother. I love y'all.